Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to propagate Cephalotus follicularis from leaf pullings. So this is my adult Cephalotus, and as you can see it's got some lovely coloration this time of year, and I'm going to be taking some leaf pullings off of this one, and I'll show you how to do that. So the best time to usually repot them and do the propagation is usually in the spring. It's autumn here now and I'm going to still take them because I did the same last year. I got that plant in autumn and I decided to try and take some leaf pullings from it then, not expecting them to work, but I kept them on my propagator over all of winter. Took them 3 months to work, but I got a little Cephalotus out of it, so I'll show you the progress of that in a second. But for now I'm just going to show you how to propagate these ones. Okay, so I have prepared a pot of long fibre sphagnum moss, which I have used to coat the top of this pot, and then underneath is peat and perlite. So the first time that I did this I used just peat and I still got 1 success. So that's what I prepared for the pot. I've gone for an 8.5cm pot, so it gives me enough room for several cuttings, so I'll probably take a few leaves off of this. So if I bring my adult forward, you can see in the middle there, it's got a couple of leaves, so they're quite well down in the plant. At the beginning of the year, when it first restarted growing, they slow down obviously in the winter, but they don't go dormant. When it was quite small at the beginning of the year, all the leaves were at the top, and obviously I've let it, that's why they probably say spring. Where now it's quite of a hill of a plant, so everything's embedded in the middle, but I'm still going to try and take for that. So you need to yourself some tweezers or a knife. You could even use your hands, as long as you get some of the white part which is closer to the crown, so that's the meristematic tissue which will produce new plants. So just finding a leaf, and then I'm going to just try and take it as far down as I can. So just snip it off like that. So it's still quite small. I mean, my plant's quite young anyway. The leaves it produces are very small. This isn't really long enough. You need a bit more white on that, but that's what I've got for my first one. It still might work, so I'm still going to use it. If I just collect a couple of leaves at the side, and I'll see how much I can get. Like I said, because it's not the best method, obviously. Well, it's the kind of wrong time of year, I'd say. Last year I didn't have this problem, it was a lot smaller of a plant. That's a little bit better. This one's got a bit of white on the end, so a little bit longer. So it's still small little plants anyway, but I'd say that's a little bit better, if you can see that. And I'll just take a couple more. Okay, so I've collected a few leaves. I've got 5 here, and I'm just going to start by placing them in the sphagnum moss. So because they're quite small anyway, they're going to fit in nicely. I did cut up this sphagnum beforehand, so they will just simply slot in. So you just need the long stemmy part in the mixture, and then the leaf will stick out. So just have them sticking up right like that, and then repeat for each one. So they start off quite small anyway, so the spacing doesn't have to be massive. And I'm just going to place them. Obviously if they do need a bit of help, just push the soil out the way, or you could use like a pen or a pricker or something just to make a hole. But it's a very easy method, especially just to get more without disturbing the roots of the adult plant. So obviously it's not the right year to time of year to repot, this is the best way to obviously propagate your plant without disturbing it this time of year. And then the final one in there. So I'm also, I think, going to take some pictures so they can also be propagated by the pictures as well. So I could either take some of these nice maroon ones, or I can take some of the green ones, which I'll probably take the smaller green ones that it produces like down the side. So I've never tried this. I only took leaf pullings last year, but I know there's a less chance of success with the pictures, but I think it was worth a try while I've still got space in my soil mixture. So I'm just going to bring the plant forward once again and select some nice propagation material. So I think I'm going to take just a couple of little ones, so it doesn't really matter if they don't work or not, but for this one I think I'm going to use my hands purely because the tweezers are probably a bit too fiddly. So if I'm just going to reach in, I'll take this one, so if I reach down to the back and simply take that, so that's a nice one actually because look, it's got the white, if I could get that to focus, it's got the white on the end, which is the meristematic tissue. So I'm going to take actually a couple of these because they seem to be coming out better than the leaves. I'll take that one, and I'll take ones that I can find at the easy growth point. Good. Right, so I've got two of them, and I'm just going to place them in the soil. So if I move that one back, move this one forward, and they're very, very small though, so they might not work, so it might just be worth it. But like I said, it hasn't really damaged the structure of the plant. I didn't want to take any of the big ones off because obviously I still had quite a nice shape to the plant. I didn't want to destroy that by taking too many bits of it. So if I just place these like that, so these are going to stick out the soil, but they're absolutely tiny, about the same size as the leaves though. So that is what I'm going to go for. And then all I need to do now is just label and date it. There we go. So with these, it's like a waiting game. Before you start seeing any seedlings, it can range between like 1 month to several months. When I did mine last year, it took I think 3 months before I saw anything. So I did the leaf pullings in November, and I don't think I saw any success until at least February time. So I'll show you what you're likely to expect. So if I just move these over, this is the one I did last year. So I did 2 leaf pullings. One was here, but it died very quickly, where this one remained green the whole time. So you can still see the old leaf that I took, which is just there, the brown one. So it's gone brown now because the plant's established enough. Ideally it would be bigger, but I've kept it in my propagator ever since I took it. So I took the leaf pulling, kept it in my propagator, and it's remained there ever since, and it's been quite, well, neglected really. So this moss has grown over this plant several times, and I just have to keep cutting it back. But I haven't repotted it or anything like that. I might do that now actually, because it'll be interesting to see what the rhizome's like on it. But yeah, it's only small like that purely because I haven't really cared for it. It's one of those ones that I did and forgot about it, but it's still quite a nice cute little plant. But that is what you will expect really. So it's got its first little non-carnivorous leaves as well as its little pictures. So once I repot that, it might be good because then it will start picking up again. I'll probably keep this in my propagator for the winter again though, because it's very small, and with the ones that I just took. So with these ones I will also put in my propagator because it's going to start getting cold soon, and ideally they need to be in a warmer temperature to obviously help them propagate. So I'm going to move them inside, and hopefully in a few months I will also get success of these. So I'm just going to begin by taking this out of the pot. I'll just tip it up. So I'm gently going to prise this apart. I don't want to disturb any of the roots. So as you can see from already, it's still very, very small. See, actually, even though it's almost a year old, because obviously it's been in my propagator, it's only got the one kind of tiny little root. So you can see that, that's its root. It does have a quite small rhizome, so it's still very healthy, and it's got some nice smaller roots coming as well. So it's definitely getting a nice root system, but after I repot it I think it'll be better. So I'm just going to tap that there and prepare a pot for it. So I've decided to prepare a pot of just sphagnum moss. So I've decided to just go for this because this one's quite young, so it'll help with the moisture levels. So I think it's up to personal favourites really, or like personal opinions, because my adult is in the it's in peat, perlite and some sand. The people recommend sand and peat purely because of where they're found in quite sandy soil. For propagation material, I know a lot of people use sphagnum moss, and even their seedlings they sometimes pot up in just sphagnum moss. So I, when I did this one last time, I did it in just peat and it still works. I think it is just personal opinion what people want, so I'm only showing you how I am doing it or how I've done it before. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody wants to do it the same way. It's just to show you the basics on how to actually propagate them. So you can see here on this one the old leaf, so you can see how long the stem was, and it's obviously then created this big stem which produced the baby. So I'm just going to stick it in this pot. Just going to be very gentle with this one because they have quite delicate roots. Luckily when they're young like this, their roots are less prone to breaking because there's less of them, where the adults can be quite picky, especially when they get repotted, because their roots can break off quite easily, which upsets the plant. So as long as you don't repot yours too much, then they're quite happy. I found mine really easy to care for. It's probably out of all my plants is the one I care for the least, so I literally just stick it in the water tray with the rest of the plants and it remains like that all year. So this one's going to go back in my propagator, but it's now got its nice new pot, so hopefully it won't be obviously like it was before, covered in moss, so it'll just be in its nice little pot, and hopefully now we'll start pick up growing that I finally repotted it after obviously propagating it. So that one looks quite nice, and I'm going to put these ones with it as well, and that is how you take leaf pullings from a Cephalotus. Okay, so that was a quick run through on how to propagate Cephalotus from leaf pullings and even the picture pullings. So it's a nice one to do if you've just got a Cephalotus and you really want to propagate it. Like I said, when I brought mine last year it was autumn and I didn't want to wait till spring, so I took the leaf pullings because it doesn't disturb the roots. You're taking it from the crown of the plant, so you're just basically taking the material that you need, and it doesn't disturb the roots of the plant, so the plant remains fine. Obviously the time to repot the plant is in spring, and that obviously is when you could take divisions of the plant as well. But taking the leaf pullings at this time of year as well is absolutely fine, because like I said, you're just taking the material that you need. You could take as many leaf pullings or picture pullings as you like. Like if you've got loads of leaves, you could just take them all. They're all grow back anyway, and it doesn't affect the plant in any way. So doing it this time of year, even if I don't get success, is still obviously a great one to do. So I'm going to place the leaf pullings that I just took in my propagator. This will be under a grow light, so the exact same conditions as I did last year, and it will just give them a nice warmer temperature, because I leave my adult Cephalotus in my greenhouse all year, and it will survive the frosts and the cold temperatures that we get here, where obviously the undeveloped and small roots of the leaf pullings will most likely not survive that, so I put them inside. Cephalotus as well are great windowsill plants as well. As long as they get a nice sunny position, they can tolerate a bit of shade. So if you've got one and you've taken some pullings, they can just sit nicely on a indirect like sunny place just until obviously they root, and then you can move them into more sun. The sun is what gives them their nice red colour. That's why mine's really nice, because of the strong light that I get in my greenhouse. But that is literally it for the Cephalotus pulling, so I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching.